Okay, so Windows device integration, we understand there are two ways, right? What are two ways? Using WMI and
Universal.
Forwarder.
Right? Either directly on the heavy forwarder or indexer, we can remotely collect the logs using WMI, which is Microsoft native method. Windows management instrumentation, remotely we can collect, or we can collect using the universal forwarder. That means with the Windows devices, we can install the client, which is universal forwarder. So last class, we started with WMI method. So before writing first point, I was explaining you the local account and domain account, right? You understand domain account now? Yes or no? In case you need to access multiple system using single account, we can give the access to multiple systems, right? Multiple system, multiple applications using same account. You create the account on domain controller and can give the access to multiple system and multiple applications. Understand? Same account. That is created on domain and controller, that is called domain account. And when you create account on particular system, that account is called as local account. Understand this, right? So first point, let me draw this first, then let's understand quickly this point. For example, your heavy forwarder IP address 192.168.0.118. In this server, we have installed Splunk, right? Let's suppose this is the heavy forwarder, right? You have to integrate the device, Windows device, 192.168.0.2, 192.168.0.3, 192.168.0.4, right? These all devices you have to integrate using WMI. Understand? You understand? All these devices record the logs on the event viewer. So your heavy forwarder has to go and pull the logs. Now your heavy forwarder means Splunk Enterprise, right? Has to go. That means has to log in order to pull the log from the event viewer. Event viewer is inside those Splunk Enterprise, yes or no? Inside those Windows devices, yes or no? Get in mind? All these three devices you have to integrate, right? So all these three devices will record the log on the event viewer. So your Splunk Enterprise has to go log in and then can pull the logs. That means your Splunk Enterprise should have the credential of these devices. Then only can go and pull the logs. Understand? That means whatever account is required for this device to log in, this device to log in, this device to log in, all account it should have. Then it can go log in and pull the logs. Now, if you create local account, so one account you have to create here, one account you have to create here, one account you have to create here, and all account you have to configure individually here. So you may have 100 of devices. Then all 100 devices you have to create account and you have to configure here. For local account, you understand? All 100 account, creating individually 100 account and managing those accounts. Sometimes password change, sometimes different password, forgot password. Local account is difficult to manage. Yes or no? So what if we create domain account? One account, for example, one account you create Splunk. Splunk and password, for example, you have given Splunk @123. For example, just an example, any account you create. है ना? So instead of creating a local account here, we can create one domain account. This is domain account on domain controller. And as per the domain controller, we have given this account access to all Windows machine. Understand? And this account we can configure on the Splunk. And instead of configuring different account here, we can configure this account, and using this account, it has access to this one also, this one also, this one also. Understand? All 100 machines. Get a point? Instead of using local account, we can use domain account, which is valid for all machines, 100 machines which are available, and whichever comes new also. By default, it's a domain account. Whichever new machine will up, this account will have access to those new machines also. Understand? Everybody is the same page? But what happens? Many of the SIM tools, we can enter the credential after installation. When we are integrating Windows devices, that time it asks us to enter the credential of these Windows devices. We have the option to enter the local credential also and domain credential also, whatever you need. But Splunk only give the option of domain credentials. Splunk do not give the option to enter. For example, if you have 30 Windows devices, if you want to enter 30 IP address, 30 different username password, it do not give the options. It gives only option to give the domain credentials only. Means same credential. If you want to integrate devices remotely, then you have to use domain account only. Then only you can collect from 30 devices. Using local account, you can't. If you have local account, then create same account, same username, same password everywhere. Then you configure one user password only here. Then only if you have different username password, it is not going to work. That means, after all, we can say we have domain option only. Domain credential you configure here, which is having same username password and access to all machines. Understand? While other SIM tool, we have the option after installation, it gives the option to configure username password. But in the Splunk, during installation of Splunk Enterprise only, you have to decide. You have to decide whether if you are going to collect the logs from Windows devices, then configure with domain credentials. If you are going with the local credentials, because what happens is during you have installed Splunk Enterprise, right? During installation, it asks us domain account. If you select customize option, it asks local account or domain account. That time I had not explained you because that time you are not aware. Yes or no? That time I had not explained you domain account or local account because that time you are not aware what is local account and what is domain account. Yes or no? So local account means only for that particular machine. Domain account means domain controller account, which you might give access to other machines also, right? So if I want to collect logs from other machines, then I must ensure that my Splunk should be installed with domain account. Understand? And that domain account should have at least read-only access on all this on Windows, this event viewer of all these Windows machines. Then only it can go log in and collect the logs. Yes or no? So, for example, this heavy forwarder on which I'm planning to integrate devices, I have to ensure that during the installation, this heavy forwarder should be installed with the domain credentials, which should have at least read-only access on the event viewer of all the Windows machine, so that it can go log in and pull the logs. Means that account do not require the full admin access. Full administrator privileges does not require on Windows machine. At least read-only access required on Windows this event viewer, so that it can go log in and pull the logs for the event viewer only. We do not require full admin access to make all changes. We require minimum level of access. That account should have only minimum level of access, read-only access, so that it can go log in and pull the logs from the event viewer. Kind of service account, silently it can go back end and pull the logs. Understand? So this you have to ensure during the installation only. Yes or no? Later on you cannot change. During the installation only it asks service account or local account. Yes or no? So this is the prerequisite. If you want to integrate Windows devices, this is the prerequisite that you're a Splunk Enterprise. That means you have heavy forwarder here. Ideally, we are not integrating directly with indexer. Yes or no? In the enterprise, you are integrating with heavy forwarder. Understand? Are we integrating with indexer? Not in the production. Yes or no? In lab environment, you can do that, but not in the production. So we have to ensure that the heavy forwarder, Splunk Enterprise, that means the heavy forwarder on which we are planning to integrate Windows devices, we have to ensure that it should be installed with the domain account. and it should have at least read-only access on the event viewer of all the Windows machine, so that it can go log in and pull the logs. Understand? Clear this? So you only one account you configure, right? So it will go log in and pull the whatever device you configure, it will go log in and pull the logs. Yes or no? All Windows machines will have login. So by default in domain credential, domain account, we can achieve this. Whatever Windows machine right now available in the production, and later period also, whichever machine comes, by default that account they will add in the AD domain controller. So by default that account will have access to all the machine. This is one time requirement only. We'll ask your AD team to create an account for this Splunk domain account so that it will have access to all the Windows machine. This is prerequisite. Understand? So whenever we are planning to implement this Splunk and we are planning to integrate Windows devices, we'll send an email to user access management team with the required approval manager and all team. We are planning to deploy our SIM tool and we are planning to integrate Windows devices. In order to fulfill the requirement, we have the requirement of creating a domain account, and at least it should have read-only access on all the production servers, all the servers on the event viewer, minimum access on the read-only access on the event viewer. Understand? We do not need full access. Understand? Clear? So that is not, the account is not created by us. That is being created by the user access management team or identity and access management, IAM team. What do you call it? UAM team, UAM or what? IAM. There's a team in the company, right? Whenever you join a company, your account will be created by this team. Some people call it, some company call us IAM team or some company call us UAM team. Understand? Anybody has any confusion in first step? वो बताऊंगा वो next step में, that is next step. Means we do not need to give anything as of now because we want account to be accessible, should be authorized for all Windows devices. So no need to give any IP address of particular Windows device because we want all access on all Windows devices, right? All Windows server. So it is not specific to particular host or particular server, right? It's for all servers. Understand? Is this clear? First step? That's right.
Credential will be created on Windows machine, sir?
Not on the domain controller, AD, domain controller. It's a domain account, right? Not local account. Credential will not be created here. Credential will be created here. It's not a local account. Got it?
So,
And
and
what is
AD
difference
team,
between AD account and Windows account, sir?
It's an AD account, right? It's an AD domain account. AD account means domain account.
Okay.
so
Clear?
AD team for the service account, so they gonna give read access to all production servers and they
Yes.
gonna give it to Splunk team. So by using that, we can install the
Right.
Splunk.
Right,
Okay.
right, correct. During the installation, we have to configure that account. Understand? Clear? Everybody? That's right. First step. WMI you have written, right? WMI, first step. First step is we have to ensure that this Splunk enterprise in bracket you write heavy forwarder. We have to ensure that this Splunk enterprise in bracket you write heavy forwarder. Now I will use the word heavy forwarder only because in the production you will integrate with heavy forwarder only, right? But heavy forwarder is Splunk enterprise, right? So in bracket you already written heavy forwarder. We have to ensure that the Splunk enterprise the heavy forwarder on which bracket close after bracket close on which we are planning to integrate on which we are planning to integrate Windows devices on which we are planning to integrate Windows devices should be installed with domain account that should have at least read-only access. That should have at least read-only access. That should have at least read-only access on all the production Windows server. On all the productions Windows server. On all the production Windows servers. All the productions Windows servers. All the productions Windows servers. Any question, Rajesh? Why unmuted? Lot of noise. It should have read-only access on all the production Windows server so that it can go log in and pull the logs from the Windows machine, so that it can go log in and pull the logs from Windows machines. I have asked you to write very detailed stuff, detailed, right? Understand? Simple, you can tell that we have to ensure that Splunk should be installed with the domain credential that should have read-only access on all the Windows servers. Understand? Detailed stuff so that it can go log in and pull the log from the event viewer, right? Means you should not have to claim, actually. You should have to understand and tell. Understood, right, everybody? Second step. Now, Splunk is installed here. This is the thing. Now, second step is we have to ensure that this Windows machine, we have to collect the logs, right? We have to ensure that that is connected, right? That means connectivity should be enabled between the heavy forwarder and the Windows device that you're planning to integrate. We have to ensure that connectivity should be enabled. Yes or no? So what do you think that if there is a cable between this to this, is this connectivity enabled? It might not be. There might be certain router and switches in between, and where there is no route defined on the router. But you are thinking the physical connectivity is there, but maybe virtually it is not connected. There is no path defined on the router, or might be switch is blocking somewhere. Understand? So we have to ensure that end-to-end connectivity is there. So how you ensure that connectivity is there? How will you come to know whether from heavy forwarder to Windows device that you're planning to integrate, whether connectivity is enabled or not? How will you come to know? How will you check that? This IP heavy forwarder, and this is your Windows device that you're planning to integrate. How will you check the connectivity?
By traceroute command.
Is it?
Ping.
We can ping the IP.
Ping.
Heavy forward.
Simple. Ping, right? So how will you ping? From where
CMD.
you ping? From where you will ping?
Through CMD command.
From where?
Command prompt.
Forward.
server.
Heavy forwarder
Heavy
or a
forwarder.
window?
You tell me the step.
You can do it both ways. We
Go
can,
to
if it's a
IP config.
Windows instance, if the heavy forward is Windows instance, we can ping
In
from
Windows.
forwarder, we can ping from the endpoint also.
So this heavy forward is a Windows server. It's a Windows server. So you will take the remote access of the Windows server. Remote access. You can see first we can see the RDP remote access. Remotely we can access. Like server is kind of your desktop, right? So we can take the remote access of the server. Then go on the CMD command prompt. CMD you have open, right? Everybody, black color window, command prompt. Then type ping. Ping. And what do you enter after ping? Which IP address?
IP address.
Which IP address?
168.0.24.
So after that, what will you check?
How many packets are received?
Once we ping, what will happen?
No drop down should happen. 100%.
See, when I ping, especially in Windows, when we ping, and when you ping, it sends 4 packets by default. 1 packet, it will send to destination, wait for acknowledge. Then second packet, wait for acknowledge. Third packet, wait for acknowledge. Fourth packet, wait for acknowledge. First packet, it will send. It will wait for a stipulated time, for some time. Stipulated time to get the acknowledge. Acknowledge comes, then it will record. Acknowledge comes, means connectivity is there. And how much time it took to get the acknowledge. That is also recorded. So we can check the latency of the link also. Based on acknowledgement, when you sent and how much time it took to get the acknowledge. Govind, lot of noise from your end. Based on the acknowledge time, call as TTL time, it will record. We can see how much, what is the link speed. Lower the TTL, higher the link speed. Get a point? So what we'll do is 1 packet send, acknowledge, receive. We can see 0% loss. 100% packet receive, 0% loss. All packets send, 4 packets send, 4 packet receive, acknowledge. Means 0% loss, means connectivity is established. But every packet will see the TTL, means how much time it took to receive. Yes or no? If speed is fast, TTL will be less. If speed is slow, TTL will be higher. So we can check the link speed also. How faster is the link between source and destination? That also we can check, right? So when 4 packet is sent, all received, that means connectivity is good. Connectivity is there, enabled. When some packet is dropped, means not received, some packet received 100%, and some packet is not received, lost, means connectivity is not stable. Get a point? If some packet is dropping in between, some packet receiving, some packet is dropping, that means connectivity is not stable. All packets sent, all packet received, means connectivity is stable, right? So that is how we get the ping. That is what we check from ping. We can check the connectivity as well as we can check the link speed. Understand? Clear? So we can ping and check. If you are getting the all acknowledge, that means connectivity is enabled. So why I'm pinging from here? Why I'm not? Can't I ping from here and check?
Yes, we can ping from
We have only the red axis for this.
So why I'm not pinging from here? Why I'm pinging from here?
because we may not be having access to it.
Right.
We have only red axis.
That Windows server is not in our ownership. So a Splunk account that has been created in all Windows device, that is a service account. Service account means any software from backend can log in on that account, but remotely we can't access. Splunk can log in from backend. I have told you, right, interactive and non-interactive account last time, if you remember, means we can't log in and see the GUI of remotely. Software can log in through backend, script can log in through backend. So Splunk can log in through backend and pull the logs. But if we think that using that domain account, we can log in remotely, remote access. So we can't do that because that is service account. Generally, that will be service account, not interactive account. Understand? So why we have not pinged through this account, this server? Because we don't have access. This is Splunk server that is owned by us. That is the reason connectivity check by login. Otherwise, either you do it from here or you do it from here. Both are same. Understand? Clear? So, so you understand how we check the connectivity? So we have to ensure that next step, connectivity should be enabled between the heavy forwarder and the Windows device that we're planning to integrate. So if connectivity is not enabled, that means if you're pinging, it's not pinging. If you're once you ping, it's not ping, means all packet lost. That means connectivity is not enabled. In that case, what will you do? If connectivity is not enabled, what will you do? Who look after the connectivity related issues in the company? Who look after?
Network team.
Network team.
Network.
Connectivity related issues is being taken care by the network team, right? So if connectivity is not enabled, you will contact to the
Network team.
network team. Understand? You will explain, you will send an email or you will raise the case, telling the team we are planning to integrate this Windows device and we have checked that connectivity is not enabled. So this is our source and this is the destination. Please enable the connectivity, right? They will ask you to raise the case ticket and share the ticket number. I will tell you what is ticket number, ticketing tool, right? So you will raise the ticket and tell them the ticket number. So then they will work on the case and they will enable the connectivity. Ticket number is same. You call to Airtel customer care, right? You call to broadband, your Airtel not working. They take your request and give the ticket number, complaint number. For end-to-end tracking. That is good for you also and good for them also. Their team work, how many cases they can track based on the ticket number. And your request also can be tracked based on ticket number. Yes or no? That's why ticketing is very important for technical team, for support team. So we are also part of support team. Understand? Clear? So in case connectivity is not enabled, we'll ask network team to enable the connectivity. Understand? Second step, let's write. We have to ensure that connectivity should be enabled between the heavy forwarder and the we have to ensure that the connectivity should be enabled between the heavy forwarder and the Windows device that we're planning to integrate. And the Windows device that we're planning to integrate. Done? In next line, you can write for your information. If it is not enabled, we have to contact network team to get it enabled. Next line, you can write for yourself that in case it is not enabled, we can contact network team to get it enabled. In case it is not enabled, we can contact network team to get it enabled.
Which team?
Network team. Okay, written. Third step. What is third step? Now, WMI, this is WMI process, right? Windows Management Instrumentation, so that it allows remote computer to go log in and pull the logs. This whole process, whole communication happen on the port number 135. WMI port number is, anybody knows? 135 TCP. TCP 135. Every communication there is a port number, right? Yes or no? So WMI port number is default and we can't change. Okay, fixed port number is 135. Understand? So this whole communication between your heavy forwarder and Windows machine to pull the logs will happen on port number TCP 135, right? The whole communication connectivity you already enable, but the communication will happen on TCP 135. Connectivity enable ping is already there, enabled, but there might be possible that there is a, who can block the port number? Who can block?
Firewall.
Firewall team.
Firewall. There might be possible, bhaiya, you check the connectivity, but there might be firewall in between. Yes or no? Which might block the port number 135 in communication. You understand? There might be internal firewalls in the company. It's not, you understand? Firewall is not only on the perimeter, not only on the gateway. There will be few internal firewalls also. And there is a possibility that between your Windows machine and heavy forwarder, there is a firewall in between and it is blocking the communication on 135 port number, isn't it? So we have to ensure that WMI port number TCP 135 should be open between the Windows device and heavy forwarder, right? If there is a firewall in between, right? So both way communication, both hand means reverse and forward. If somebody asks you whether from this to this or this to this, so both between heavy forward Windows machine and Windows machine to heavy for both hand, this port number should be allowed. Reverse and forward, both traffic on port number 135 should be allowed. Not this source to this destination, but this source to this and this source to this. Both hand port number should be open. Understand? If there is a if the condition is written if there is no firewall, port is already allowed. Yes or no? Generally, in company there is no host firewall enabled, right? That means all ports are open in between. There is no firewall. Understand? Clear? So we have to ensure that port number TCP 135, WMI port number TCP 135 should be allowed, should be opened if there is a firewall in between, right? Understand? How will you check? How we will check whether firewall is blocking the port number or not? Anybody knows any way to check this?
Telnet.
Telnet is the way to check. We can do the telnet to check whether port is open or not. Telnet, you know what happened? Telnet is the process of taking the remote connection of any host. Remote access through command line, we can take the remote access of any host using command line, using telnet. But telnet is generally not allowed. Telnet, I can enter the IP address, for example, this is 118, right? I can log in on the server, I can use telnet and I can write the IP address 192.168.0.24 space port number 135 in the command line. If it is showing as connected, means port number 135 is open, that is the reason it got connected, right? But telnet, the communication is happening on the clear text format, the whole communication, and many of the companies are not allowing telnet. And telnet command, you have to install telnet application, we have to install. And many of the companies are not allowing to install telnet. Maybe it's possible telnet is not configured on your system. Get my
Port, we can use port scanner.
this is something is not allowed, scanning port number and everything. So ideally, we may not be able to check whether particular port number is open or not. So in that case, we may send firewall team
Trace route.
check. We may send. So who if port is not open, who is going to open the port number?
Network.
Who?
Firewall
team.
Firewall.
Firewall team.
Firewall team, right? There might be possible that you have one common team, network team, who handle the network also, firewall also, right? But some company will have separate team, firewall team, separate team, network team, right? So we refer here firewall team. Depends on company. Company, network and firewall both are same, then network team. Otherwise, firewall team. So we'll use a specific word, firewall team. Understand? So maybe possible that in that case, we'll ask them, firewall team, to check. If it is not open, then open it. Understand? Clear? Let's write.
Sir, how the firewall team will check manually?
They can check it in the firewall policy. On the firewall policies, they can check.
Okay. Oh.
We have to ensure that. WMI port number TCP 135 TCP 135 should be open. We have to ensure that WMI port number TCP 135 should be opened between है यार, लेकिन हालत खराब हो रही है इस समय यार, नींद पूरी नहीं हो रही है, हेडेक इतना ज्यादा हो रहा है ना, अभी बहुत कम हो गया था लेकिन अब वापस हो रहा है.
कोई बात नहीं सर, कल पढ़ा लीजिए.
We have to ensure that लिखा TCP 135 WMI 135 should be open. Should be open between the heavy forwarder and Windows machine. Between the heavy forwarder and Windows machine that we are planning to integrate. That we are planning to integrate. Right? In case it is not for your information, you can write in next net line. In case it is not open, we can raise the case with the firewall team to open it. So WMI port number is
35.
35. What?
135.
To the last point.
35.
135.
135, right? Net BIOS port number. What is net BIOS port number?
Is net bio.
Net BIOS port number. What is SMB port number? SMB.
25.
Hmm? SMB.
445.
445. 139 to 445. Net BIOS, you don't know. Net BIOS port number.
137.
137.
130.
137 to 139, sir.
137. Generally, SMB and net BIOS work together. So 137 to 139, 445 all work together. Net BIOS, SMB, these services are being used to, for share services such as printers. For example, you have share printer, right? You have office, you have printers. So printer will connect to your PC in net BIOS port number. SMB and net BIOS. So it will have some applications which will use SMB and net BIOS both port number. 137 also, or 139, 405. These are the net BIOS and SMB port numbers. Sometime interview may ask why these net BIOS and SMB port numbers should not be allowed outside. Ideally, this net BIOS and SMB port number should be blocked outside, should never be opened. Get what I mean? Means publicly in your understand what I'm saying? This net BIOS and SMB port number should be only open for internal communication. Outside people should not be able to access these ports. Outside user, these ports should be blocked on the firewall always. Why? Because these port numbers are used for these shared devices such as printers. You have IoT devices, right? Alexa, right? IoT device, Internet of Things, right? So if you open this port number, your outside attackers can take the access of these shared devices. Printer, fax machines, right? All those different devices. That's the reason these ports should not be open. Understand? Sometime interview ask this question. That's why I'm telling you. Why SME port number, net BIOS port number should be open. Very frequently question. Understand? So deliver port number is 135. Okay. Let me come on the port. It was third step, right? It was third, right? Fourth. What is the fourth step now?
Fourth.
3 you have total written, right? 3.
First one was domain account installation. Second was connection. So now we did the connection, right?
देखो वर्क फ्रॉम होम चल रहा है. अविनाश, I stopped his video. अविनाश, कपड़े वपड़े पहन लिया करो भाई. Summer season started. Okay. So now fourth step, right? Fourth step. Now there is a service actually in the Windows machine. There is a service which allow remote computer. There is a service on the Windows. You see the Splunk D services. Once we install a Splunk, which runs the Splunk, right, that is called as a Splunk D service. Understand? Similarly, there's a service on the Windows machine which enable remote computer to pull the logs, that is called a WMI service, which runs the WMI application, right? WMI service. So we have to ensure that the Windows machine that we're planning to integrate, right, the WMI service should be running all the time. If WMI service is stopped or not running, the remote computer will not be able to pull the logs. Understand? So we have to ensure that WMI service should be running on the Windows machine that we are planning to integrate. In case it is not running, we have to start it. Understand? Clear? You know what? See, being a Splunk administrator, whatever configuration has to be done on the Splunk end, that's our responsibility. Whatever configuration has to be done on the device end, that's the responsibility of device administrator and device administrator. Whatever something has been done on firewall end, that is their responsibility. But ensuring everything is our responsibility. Because end-to-end integration is our responsibility, that logs are coming. Understand? Clear? Right? But we don't have login on this, access on this, we don't have access on this, we don't have access on the router. Yes or no? So we have to raise the case, we have to contact to the respective different team to do the required configuration. Similarly, WMI service running or not, Windows team has to check, server team. Got your mind? So whatever configuration, we can tell if they do not know how to do it, we can tell them how to do that. Or we create certain document, certain time, what kind of configuration has to be done there, and we can create certain document. We can tell them. Documents available on the Splunk also and on internet also. We can create a document, certain stuff we can copy and paste in the Word document, and we can share with them so that they will not have any kind of confusion. Understand? This all communication will happen over the emails only, right? So those documents we can attach on the email so that they can follow it without any issues. Understand? Clear? So next step will be, we have to ensure that WMI service should be running on the Windows machine that we're planning to integrate. That's right. We have to ensure that WMI service should be running on the Windows machine, on the Windows machines or machine, on the Windows machine. We have to ensure that WMI service should be running on the Windows machine. We have to ensure that WMI service should be running on the Windows machine that we're planning to integrate. Understand? Clear? Clear? Next step, understand. You know what happens? Audit. You know, audit in the sense, auditing means, you understand auditing? Auditing means kind of calculation, means you see benefit, gain or loss, gain, you see the auditing. Auditing means what happened, you see the auditing, loss and gain. Physical auditing, like tax auditing, means how much your benefit, how much audited. If you don't write it, you'll not come to know, right? How much your benefit, how much your loss. For example, there is a shop. You have a shop if you don't create a record, you'll not come to know, right? How much is the loss, how much is the gain. So you have to write, you have to record everything that we call as audit. So what happens is, by default, so audit means enabling your machines to record the logs, record the activities that is called as audit. Windows machine or any machine, whatever activity is happening, enabling them to record those activities, you call as enabling the audit. Or audit or logging. Enabling the logging or enabling the audit, same thing, different word. Logging is enable. If I said logging is enable, that means that particular device will record the activity. See, activity is already happening, but whether it is recording in form of logs or not. Sales is already happening, whether you are writing on the paper or not. If you're not writing, you will not come to know how much sales happen. Understand? Similarly, activity is already happening on device. If it is not recording, you will not come to know. That means if logging is not enabled, it will not record. So we use the word logging or auditing. Logging. What word? Logging. Logging or auditing. Logging. Logging or auditing. Auditing. Logging or auditing. Right? So we have to ensure that the Windows machine that we're planning to integrate on that audit is enabled. Audit/logging. If audit is not enabled, it will not record the logs. And if it not record the logs, that means an event viewer will be empty. We will not see the log on the event viewer. Yes or no? There is a process of enabling the logging. But by default, all Windows machine logging is already enabled. You know, whenever we are integrating any device like router, switches, firewall, every device we have to enable the logging. But by default, when we buy this device, because these all are critical device, logging is ideally by default enabled. They're already recording the logs. But we have to ensure that it is enabled. May possible that device got restarted and logging got disabled, something happened. We just have to ensure that logging means auditing is enabled. In case it is not enabled, we have to enable it. Understand? Clear? There's a document. We can also search in Google also and get the document how to enable the audit. Understand? And just to ensure that logging is enabled or not, just log in the Windows and go in the event viewer. How you can see that logging is enabled or not? You tell me. How you ensure that whether logging is enabled or not?
Event viewer.
Use the event where it is recording the logs or not.
Simply go on the
Event viewer.
viewer and if logs are there, that means logging is enabled. If no logs, that means not enabled. Simple. Yes or no? Because it should not happen. For example, you integrated devices and it may happen the logs are not coming. Generally, what happens is we know that all the Windows device by default logging is enabled. Maybe you may not verify logging is enabled or not. And you integrate device, after that you are seeing logs are not coming. That time you may have to verify, reverse engineering you do. And you check all logging is not enabled. Generally, we do like this only. Because we know that already in Windows device, logging are enabled. So unnecessarily, why to perform this step? But since it's a procedure, that's the reason we have to write. Understand? Otherwise, we generally skip this step. Develop my service is also default service. It will keep running all Windows machine. We may skip this step also. Because we know that it's running. And it is also enable only. But it's a procedure. Yes or no? So once we do the reverse engineering, if things is not working, we have to do the reverse engineering, troubleshooting. That time we may verify, we have to verify logs are not coming. That means some problem. We may check, maybe the Lumai service is not running. Maybe your audit is not enabled for a particular device. Maybe sometime restarted and someone had done the changes. Yes or no? Understand? Let's write. कौन सा स्टेप है? कोई सी स्टेप इट इज? हाँ, फिफ्थ, राइट? We have to ensure that we have to ensure that audit/logging. We have to ensure that audit/logging should be enabled on the Windows machine that we are planning to integrate. On the Windows machine if logging is not enabled, who will enable logging? If logging
So
Device
enabled,
admin.
Windows
Team.
team.
Windows team.
Windows team, right? Right. Who will enable? Windows team, not you. Windows team. If WMI service is not running, who will start it? Windows team. That is the reason we had a meeting, right? With the stakeholder. We asked them to nominate some POCs with every team because we need your help also, every stakeholder help also for integration. Because some kind of configuration required by Splunk team, SIM team, some kind of configuration has to be done on the device end also. Because we don't have access to end device and we may not get it also, right? And we may not be knowing also sometime because we are the security administrators, SOC team. We are not database administrator. We are not the application administrator, and they may not give the access to us also. It can be the audit finding, isn't it? Respective team has to do those changes. So we can only tell them and they have to configure it. Understand? So if it is not there, they will do their changes. Clear? So now with this step you have written, fifth step, right? So now once we everything is achieved, right? Now you can see I had to, for example, 24 server I have to integrate, right? So now Splunk is already installed, right? With domain account and everything. Now this prerequisite connectivity, port number, WMI, everything is there, right? Now we'll log in on the Splunk Enterprise using web. How will you log in? Through Splunk web on the heavy forwarder using Splunk web, right? Go on the setting. You guys have explored Splunk web, right? Go on the setting. I'm just explaining you, then you write, okay? First, let me tell you, then we will write. Now we'll log in on the Splunk web. On the Splunk web, on the right-hand corner, there is a setting option. Splunk setting, enterprise setting. Setting option, there is an option add data. Yes or no? And there is one more option in data input. Add data or data input. In the add data or data input, there is option of WMI. Windows WMI. WMI option. So you have to select WMI option. Okay. We have to go in the add data input. That all we are going to perform practically. Okay. So WMI option we have. So we will select WMI option. After selecting WMI option, we will enter the IP address or host name of the Windows machine, remote Windows machine. Understand? Either your IP address or host name. So we have the DNS server already in the company. So you enter host name also, it will convert back in the IP address. Understand? Host name mapping with the IP address. So host name or IP address, whatever you have, you can mention. Understand? So then I will enter the host name or IP address. For example, right now I'm entering IP address. We'll enter IP address 192.168.0.24. Just I'm explaining you, okay, right now, okay? 24. I will enter the IP address. Once I mention the IP address and click on next. Once I enter IP address and click on next, right? It will try to establish the connection from this Windows machine and check what all log access it is having, whatever logs access it is having. Since this is a remote Windows machine, whatever logs are available in the event viewer, such as system logs, security logs, and application logs. 3 type logs, it will show you in drop-down box. It will show you drop-down system, security, and application. Get it? Then I have to select which log I want to collect. Then if I select, actually there will be 2 boxes here, and there will be arrow like this arrow. If I select security, then security will come here. When I select system, system will come here. Here is selected, here all. If I selected application, application also will come. Get it? Understand what I'm saying? Security, once I select it, it will come here. So it will show you, once I click on next, it will show you which all log access this particular Splunk is having on the event viewer. It will show you access, and then which log you want to collect, it will show you here. So you have option to enter multiple IP addresses also, comma, multiple IP address, comma, like this. Then which all logs you want to collect, which type of logs, system log, security log, application log, you will click it here and click on next. You know, because this is a remote server IP address remotely, that is a system security and application log it is showing, because by default remotely this particular account remotely have system log, security log, application logs. If I would have entered the IP address of 192.168.0.118, this is local system. If I want to integrate this particular server also with Splunk, this is a local server, right? Local, and Splunk Enterprise installed on this server only. If I enter this particular server IP address, Splunk will have access to all logs, including system security. Unified forwarder can collect the logs, right, for performance logs also. Yes or no? Disk utilization, registry logs, performance log, like CPU utilization, all different type of logs also can be collected because installed on the same server. So local logs can be multiple different type of logs, but remotely WMI only system security and application log can be collected. But on which system Splunk has been installed, it can collect the performance logs, registry logs, and other these all type of logs also. Matrix, that is called matrix. But WMI, it can collect other logs. So whatever systems I enter remotely, it collects system security and application. But local system, if I enter the IP address locally, it can collect matrix logs also. And as well file folder level monitoring also, we can do that like that. Because it has, because unified folder, what we can do? Similarly, Splunk Enterprise also can collect the local logs for that particular device, file folder level monitoring also. But remote devices, it will collect. कौन गया है? कोई क्या? आवाज आ रही? अपने आप ऐसा हुआ है. अच्छा ठीक है. Understand? Understand? So whatever devices, I just give an example of local IP, but whatever remote devices you are mentioning, then it once you enter here IP address, will give the option which logs you want to collect. Select the type of logs, then click on next. For example, you selected only security. Same perspective, you will collect only security. You click on next. Once you click on next, understand till here? I'm just explaining you theoretically, same to same practically we are going to, so that you have better understanding. Okay, otherwise it's a slide sharing class, practical class. We can finish it very fast, but understanding here, then practically give the better understanding. And the next stage, next step, it will give you, see, once logs comes in the Splunk, once the logs comes in the Splunk, right? You have 400, 500, 1,000 of devices integrated. So particular logs came from which particular device we have to identify, right? Yes or no? So particular device IP address we can identify, or host name we can identify the particular logs is from particular device. So on the next step, it will ask you host mapping. Particular host, the field name is host. Host is equal to. It will ask you, you want to give host equal to IP address or host equal to host name. How you want to identify this particular device? For example, this particular Windows device, for example, I want to search whatever logs came from this particular Windows device, I want to search all. So I want to give the query host is equal to. So how would you like to search? Host is equal to host name, IP address, or host equal to host name. So you have to define here in the next stage. You identify this particular device logs. Host is equal to host name or host is equal to IP address. If I define host equal to IP address, then you can define a host is equal to 192.168.0.24. So whatever logs is being collected with the particular device, it will add this field host equal to this IP address. Understand? So if you want to search, okay, I want to search all log for 24 hours, then give the query host equal to host IP address. Then you can see all 24-hour logs. Once you integrate device also, particular device, done, integration done, search the logs host equal to IP address. Search 10-15 minute logs are coming, integration is successful. Means this particular field will be tagged with IP address. Understand? Clear? And that particular page, it will ask you a couple of more information, such as index. For what purpose index it is asking? Just give me one moment. You think about it. For what purpose? We have to, it is asking index is equal to.
So whether we have a separate index or to save in default storing the logs.
To differentiate the logs, wherein we can create different indexes for Windows, Linux, firewall, network devices.
Right. That means on which index you want to store the logs. Right. So that is optional. If I don't select, one index is already selected. Which index is selected by default?
Main.
Main.
It is written as default. By default, it is not selected as main. It is selected as default. And default means main. Because default is set as main. Understand? So if you do not select anything, keep it default, means it's main. It will store in main index. Understand? So by default, index is default. If you have already created any customized index, then you can select customized index. Understand? Clear? Then there are some more things you can customize. I'll explain you. Then click on next. Once you click on next, integration will be done. Understand? Integration will be done. Next page integration will be done. So Next page integration will be done. Now, once integration is done, server got restarted. अब क्या होगा? प्रैक्टिकल करना था प्रैक्टिकल. Once the integration is done, then we have to verify whether. What do we have to verify? What do we have to verify?
Whether the logs are coming into the Splunk.
Whether logs are coming or not. So where will you check logs are coming or not?
Search head.
Search head.
Right. Search head or heavy forwarder?
Search head.
Search it.
Why not in heavy forwarder?
It will just collect the
Heavy
logs.
forward doesn't store any logs, sir.
Right, because heavy forwarder will collect and forward the logs, right, to indexer, and indexer will store the logs, and the logs will search on using
Search head.
Understand? Let's write those two steps. Before doing this, let me explain you one more thing. Okay, let's write first. Let's write. Which number step it is? 6th. Now, we'll log in. Now we'll log in on the Splunk web of the heavy forwarder. Now we'll log in on the Splunk web of the heavy forwarder. And go on setting. Go on setting. Select add data or data input option. Select add data or data input option. Select add data or data input option. Then select WMI option. This is very detailed. Okay, detail I'm writing, but it is very quick when we do practically. It is very quick, but I'm asking you to write it. Then select add data and data input option. Then select WMI option. Select WMI option. Then enter device IP address. And select type of logs to be collected. such as system logs, security logs, application logs, etc. Then select the index to store the logs and click on submit. And other detail. Click on index to store the logs and other detail and other detail and click on submit. Then select the index to store the logs. Then click on select the index to store the logs and other details. Then click on submit. Then click on submit. सर्वर रीस्टार्ट हो गया. Click on submit. Right now. Next step you write. Click on submit. The device will be integrated. Click on submit. Then the device will be integrated. Then the device will be integrated. Then the device will be integrated. Later, next step. Now, in order to verify the successful integration of the device. Now, in order to the successful integration of the device, written क्या लिखा मैंने? Device will log in on the search ad and give the query host equal to host name / IP address host /IP address, host name / IP address of the device that we have just now integrated. that we have just now integrated. Run this query for last 10-15 minute logs. But just now we have integrated, right? Run this query for last 10-15 minute logs. Run this query for last 10-15 minute logs.
So once again, tell me, sir. Host equal to host name slash
That's IP address.
IP slash IP address.
That's right.
Okay.
The host name slash IP address. If logs are coming, that means the logs coming, that means
Integration is successful.
what do you mean by that?
Integration is successful.
Integration is successful.
Sir, for this integration, we'll only get event view logs. It will not give the matrices, correct?
It won't give because it's a WMI integration, right? WMI. Once log it won't give.
Local server it will give.
Local server
Local
only local on which we have installed Splunk, right? If we integrate that device, it will go give us.
So you mean heavy forwarder
What?
where we install, right?
Because it will have access because it's locally installed, right? So it will have access to all logs, but remotely, because it has installed on the same server, so it has a script. Using some script, it can pull performance related logs also. Like Unix folder have a script so that it can collect performance related logs. Similarly, Splunk Enterprise also have the script. So on the same server, it can collect, but different servers using WMI, it can collect. It can only read event viewer logs. Got it? Clear?
Yeah.
So in our lab, remotely we have seen 8 server, we are collecting 24 server, right? Right now, I can't show you this example. I can only show you same server and same log we are collecting, same server logs. Means I will install a Splunk Enterprise and I will enter the IP address of same server to collect the logs. Why I can't enter the IP address of this server to collect the logs? You tell me.
Integration is not done.
I have the server and I have this server also, but WMI I cannot do in my lab environment. I can integrate other server using universal, but in my lab, I don't have WMI option. You tell me now, can anybody answer why I can't? Means locally, I have installed Splunk Enterprise here. I can enter the IP of this server and I can collect the log locally. I can go on WMI option only, but local log all I can same server, but I can't collect the log of this particular server.
There is no domain configured.
Why it is? Why it is?
Domain.
Because we don't have
Domain
account. Right, because we don't have domain controller here. Because for WMI, we should have domain account. Yes or no? So we don't have domain controller here, which we can install here and we should have give access to other computer, right? Yes or no? That's the reason I can same account, I cannot have access to other computers, which I have installed Splunk here. That's the reason this account, I can't access other computer using this account. That is the reason remotely using WMI, I can't collect the logs. But we will follow the same process. but IP address will give local computer IP address, not this computer IP address. Understand? But functionality is same. So we'll consider that in production we have installed on the domain account, and then we can give the IP address remote computer also. The process is same. Clear?
Or which IP address we give domain controller or Active Directory?
No, IP address we have to give the computer IP address and machine IP address, of course. But account should be of the domain account, right? But our account is local account. Our Splunk account is local account because we don't have domain controller. Yes or no? So our Splunk account will not have access to other machines remotely. That is the reason we cannot do that. Because in the lab, we don't have domain controller. So we cannot have domain account. We have local account only. Understand? That is the reason remotely we cannot collect the logs in our lab environment because we don't have domain controller. And first prerequisite, Splunk should be installed with the domain controller, domain account, and should have read-only access event to all Windows machine. When we don't have domain controller itself, how we can create the accounts? We don't have accounts. Yes or no? But to follow the same process, we will have local account only and will integrate with the same server. Understand? Clear? Okay. Fine then. Let's continue. I'll be sharing my screen now.
If we have a local account, then why can't we use username and password to log into that Windows account through heavy forwarder?
Which one?
If we have now we have a local account itself, right? So why can't we use that ID password to access from heavy forwarder?
Means? No,
We
no,
have
we cannot configure. See, Splunk should be installed. During the installation only we have to configure. Separate,
Yeah.
later on we cannot configure.
Okay, so now we can do that, right? Like we can do like that, right?
But all computer you have to use same account.
Okay.
Same username, same password. Then you can do that. Get it? But this
Yeah.
is in the production environment because you cannot always keep same username, same password.
For all the systems.
Security violation, right? Password should be changed in time. For example, 100 computer, 100 username, 100 password, you can't keep same password. Then every time, how you keep the change? You can't keep the same password every time for all 100 computers, isn't it? It's difficult to maintain. That is the reason it is possible, but this is not realistic.
Okay.
Okay, clear? So 118 server, I was supposed to integrate, but 118 server is down right now. Server got just restarted. So I have one more server, 24 server, on which that is also single instance. So that I'll be showing you 24 server. Okay, 118 server is down right now because server got just light got just blinked and server got restarted. So this is 124 server. So what was the prerequisite? First point. What was the first point?
Domain account should be there.
Right. Let's suppose this Splunk is installed with domain account. Okay. First. Second.
Connectivity should be there.
Connectivity.
Right. So for example, what device you want to integrate? You check the connectivity. For example, 24 server you want to integrate, then check the connectivity like this 192.168.0.24. Whatever device you want to integrate, check the connectivity like ping like this. Got it, mind? From a Splunk server, heavy forwarder, right? Check the connectivity. Understand? Log into the heavy forwarder. For example, 24 server is my heavy forwarder, right? So you have to take the remote access. So I have not shown you. So you see 24 server. This is where access I have given. See, you have this RDP kind of server. 24 server, Windows server it is, right? You go on the RDP, for example, remote desktop, enter the IP address of the server, right? Username is already configured, so you do not ask. Enter the username and password. okay, on which your Splunk installed. So this is my this 24 server. You can see 24 and 24. Understand? From this server, you ping the IP address of the Windows machine which you're planning to integrate. Get a point? So go on the CMD, run CMD, and type the IP address. Whatever. Right now, I will integrate the same server only, right? But whatever you have to integrate. Understand? Clear? Understand? Everybody on the same page? So you see what result I was telling you. Reply from this, you can see reply. Time less than 1 millisecond. You can see all packet, you can see time has been taken less than 1 millisecond. Means connectivity, because both are in same server, near only, it took less than 1 millisecond. A reply you got in less than 1 millisecond. Means link is very fast. It took less than 1 millisecond. Understand? 1000 millisecond equal to how many millisecond equal to 1 second?
1000.
100 कौन बोला? 100 और 1000?
100.
1000 भैया, मिली मतलब 1000 होता है यार. 1000 millisecond equal to 1 second, right? You can see less than 1 millisecond it reached. Understand? TTL time to live is 128 millisecond. Means if 128 millisecond it won't get the response, it says it will move to next packet, right? That is called TTL, mean time to live. You can see 4 packets send, 4 packet receive. You can see 4 packets send, 4 packet receive, 0 loss. Means connectivity is stable, 0 loss, right? Minimum 0 maximum 0 millisecond, average 0. You can see latency 0 millisecond, means less than 1, almost 0. Because less than 1 millisecond means almost 0, immediately the communication happen. Yes or no? If you see, for example, ping google.com. Let's see Google how much times it take. Google, how much? 32 millisecond latency. Time from my system to Google, how much it takes? 32 milliseconds. Sim Expert is slower than Google. Sim Expert, how much? 83 millisecond. See, connectivity is not what do you measure the connectivity speed, link speed? Connectivity is the you'll measure end-to-end connectivity. It does not depend on your connectivity only. It depends on end-to-end connectivity. May possible that you have taken high bandwidth connection, but your website or end server has taken low bandwidth connection. Then connectivity will be slow. You have taken low bandwidth, but you have a high bandwidth, connectivity is still slow, right? Your tank, water is coming high flow, but you have taken less bandwidth connection, water will come slow, right? So end-to-end connectivity. You can see Sim Expert is 83 millisecond. Google is 33 millisecond, right? But our local connection is less than 1 millisecond, isn't it? So connectivity is enabled, connectivity is stable, no packet loss, right? So with ping server, connectivity is enabled. Understand? Clear this? Which is going to do by pinging? Understood, everybody? Right? What is next step? Connectivity 4 packets sent, 4 packet receive, connectivity is stable. But how long it is taking? What is the speed of link? We check. Sim Expert is slower than Google. Of course, Google will be faster, right? So millisecond, what is the time, reply time we got to know. Next step. Port number telnet is not runnable in my, for example, if I run telnet, it would not enable, right? Otherwise, I would have like this telnet equal to 192.168.0.118 space port number 135, but it not run. You can see telnet is not recognized internal or external command because telnet is application is not configured. So we can't check. So we have to check firewall team. Let's say firewall team confirm that telnet port number 135 is enabled, right? What next step? Audit is enabled, right? So for example, 24 server only I want to integrate, right? So we have to verify whether it's enabled or not. By default, it is enabled, but we have to we can verify. So how we can verify?
Event viewer logs.
Event viewer. So go on the
Event viewer.
type.
Services.msc.
So which device event viewer you will check? Splunk event viewer or Windows device event viewer? Where will check?
Windows we will
Windows event viewer.
Device they're planning to integrate, right? That device you will check or Windows team will check?
Windows team.
Windows team, right? Search in Windows view, right? Now you can see, go on the Windows logs. Now, audit is enabled or not? In this device, audit is enabled or not enabled?
Enabled.
How you come to know it is
Logs are coming.
Logs are there.
Date and time show here.
logs are there, right?
Yeah.
These are the logs, isn't it? That means audit is enabled, right? Next.
Services.msc.
Sir, sorry for interruption. How to know Windows log as enabled?
अभी देखे ना सर्विसेज में उसमें event viewer. Now we have seen, right, event viewer, and we see the logs are there. See, these are application logs, external security logs, right? So we have seen here, these are the logs. Last time you have not seen. I have asked you to verify this. These are the logs. Last time you have done the homework. When I have shown you, I ask you, right, to explore yourself. These logs. So these are the logs. If logs are not recorded here, if it is empty, if this is empty, that means audit is not enabled. We have to enable it, right? Understand?
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Search in Google. Search in Google, you get the document. How to enable logging in Windows Server 2000, for example, 2019. Oh, sorry, how to enable logging in Windows Server 2019, right? You can see a Windows Server logging, how to enable logging, right? So enable external login, right? Windows logging basics. So you can allow logon to, so you get the document, right? How to enable logging. So I have the document also, but that is not responsibility of yours, right? That is the responsibility of Windows team to enable logging, but by default it is enabled. In case it's not enabled, we have to enable it. Okay, but by default it is enabled. Okay, got it right? Clear this step to everybody? What is next step now?
सर एक डाउट है छोटा सा
Services.
Yes, go ahead.
सर ये जो इवेंट व्यूअर हम चेक कर रहे हैं ये हम जो एंड डिवाइस है हमारे यूजर की उस पे चेक करेंगे.
You tell me now.
सर ये थोड़ा कंफ्यूज हो गया, कंफ्यूजन हो गया कि ये हम Splunk हम हेवी फॉरवर्डर एंड के इवेंट व्यूअर में चेक करेंगे या उसमें?
We are going to collect the log from Windows device, right? So Windows record the logs on their event viewer. So we have to check that particular Windows device event viewer only. That is what I'm saying. That's a responsibility of Windows team.
Okay, sir.
Showing you how to do it, but we should be aware of that, right? Because they may not understand. You might have to get on the call. They might be sharing their screen. Yes or no? So you should also it's not happen that you are instructing, but you yourself not aware. Yes or no? बेइज्जती हो जाए नहीं तो.
सही बात है सर. Thank you, sir. Clear हो गया.
Got it? So next step. नहीं पढ़ो अच्छे से क्या लिखा है.
Services.
Configure the types of logs to be collected in heavy forwarder.
एक step missing है अभी.
We need to check the services. WMA services is running or not.
WMA service.
Auditing and logging.
So how we can check services?
Services.msc.
So how we can check the service? WMA service. How we can check? Either you go on the run and type services dot
MSC.
MSC. If you don't know the command how to write, simple thing is go on the search
Yes.
and type
Services.
services. Simple, right? Have you ever opened this services?
Yes.
Which service? WMI alphabetical order. So we have to go down.
Last, you'll find it at the last bottom.
Which service it is? WM. You can see this service. Right now it is running or not running?
Running.
Running.
Hmm?
Running.
Windows management instrumentation. This is what the method we are using right now, and this is the service name right now. You can see right now running, but maybe somebody has stopped it or got stopped, so this should be running. Understand? Clear? What is next step now? Logging
Now
on.
we have to configure in heavy forwarder.
So Splunk web, heavy forward Splunk web, right? So let's say for suppose, see, I was doing the performing on the heavy forward only because we have only one server right now. Server is down, other server is down right now. So 124 server only I'm performing all locally. So let's say suppose heavy forward is 24 only. Okay, understand, right? You are able to differentiate. However, I am performing device integration also 24 only, and server Splunk is also on 24. But you understand? Windows device, we have to integrate with remote device, and Splunk will be separate Splunk server. But right now, I am doing both the activity on the same server. Understand? Because of lab environment. Got it? So Splunk.
Sir,
Yes.
Sir, how would I know that heavy forwarder only installed in that particular server? Is there any services running behind or?
What?
Okay, in real time, right? So we are going to install heavy forwarder into different servers to collect the logs from the production server.
Right.
How would I know? Suppose let's pretend only 192.168.0.24 is only having the heavy forwarder. How I can make sure? So this has the heavy forwarder.
So say all Splunk enterprise looks same, right? So how will you
Yeah.
which one is heavy forwarder, which one is indexer, right? So first of all, we have the asset list of our own Splunk instances. So we have to mention the IP address. Okay, heavy forwarders, which heavy forwarder? Okay, New York heavy forwarder is IP address. This is the credential. Bangalore heavy forwarder, this is the IP address. This is the credential. Riyadh IP address, heavy forwarder, this is the IP address. This is the credential. And these indexer 1, indexer 2, this is the indexers. This is a search head. Every IP address, host name, credentials, we have to write and create the credential list. Asset and credential list we have to create. That is how we have to create. And there is one way we can create a banner here. I can tell you, for example. Okay, so let me log in and I will show you can create a banner. And
okay,
right is a heavy forwarder. It's an indexer. It's a search head like that we can write for better understanding. The banner option is given.
So they're going to disable in the heavy forwarder search option and indexer creation option also from the heavy forwarder.
What?
Can we do that? Okay, can we disable the searching option from the heavy forwarder? I mean, it looks same, right? And enterprise edition.
Option, there is an option because search has a default app. There is an option, but sometimes it should not disable because sometimes some internal log we may have to search. Store their internal logs. Heavy forwarder will store their internal logs. Indexer will store search head and for example, heavy forwarder will store internal logs, and other component which are, for example, license master will store their internal logs. So we should not disable, but there is an option to disable it through backend configuration.
Okay, but in heavy forwarder, only we'll do the configuration of the integration of the prod servers or any other server.
Yeah. Forwarding, that's it.
Okay.
Right? By default, it does the parsing. That is the reason we are having heavy forwarder, right? So that it reduces one level of load. Got it?
Yeah, it's not like we are downloading the other forwarders and installing like agents in the other servers.
No. Heavy forwarder is same as Splunk Enterprise only, right?
Okay, got it. Yeah.
Enterprise
Thank
only.
you, sir. Yeah.
So this is IP address. Let's I have already logged in. That's the reason. Otherwise, it will ask you to enter IP address and port number, IP address and username. Sorry, username and password. Let me log out and show you. You already logged in, right? You already know how to log in. Yes or no? Once you enter port number, it will ask you to enter username and password, right? So let me enter username and password. I have set default type as Splunk Enterprise Security on this. That's the reason Splunk is showing a default as Splunk Enterprise Security. For you, it is showing default is home, right? For me, it is showing Splunk Enterprise Security as default app, right? Because I have set Splunk Enterprise Security on this instance as default. So what is the next step now? You read, go on the, after logging on the web, go on the settings, then select add data or
Data input.
you or this, right? So either, so here also you got the option, here also you got the option. So let me open this add data option. Here you can see I have skipped some of the step here because once you come in practically, it's you understand. You can see once you come here, you have upload option, monitor option, and forwarder. To integrate Windows device or other devices, you have to select monitor option. Let me tell you what option other we have. Upload option. In Splunk, you have option to upload CSV files also. For example, because Splunk is data analytics tool, right? Data analytics tool means analyzing the data, right? In Excel sheet, what do? You analyze the data. Okay, how much you got? For example, our counselor is doing analyzing. Okay, this many people has paid the fees. This many people have not paid. Or how much you paid, like this. Analyzing the data, right? And they're reminding, okay, you have not paid. Yes or no? And big data, when you have, you can create even chart also on the Excel. You can create graphs on the Excel. Report you can create on the Excel, right? When you have a huge amount of data, you can't use Excels. If you want to create several, more things you want to do, maybe it is very difficult to do on the Excel. So that Excel data you can get in the Splunk. And you can utilize along with the Splunk data, that Excel data also you make it searchable. Yes or no? Some kind of formulas you can use in Splunk for data analysis perspective. You can create graphs, dashboards, searches, report you can create using that data, which is there in the Excel right now. Understand what I'm saying? Table you can create on the Splunk using that data which is there in the Excel sheet. Understand what I'm saying? So that data you can upload on your Splunk. So which is data which is there in the, for example, any data you have. For example, जोमेटो डेटा है क्या? जोमेटो डेटा था यहाँ पे. देखो ये जोमेटो का डेटा है यहाँ पे. हाँ, रेस्टोरेंट आईडी, रेस्टोरेंट नेम, city code, city name, address, right? How much data they have, how much data it is? Big data, right? कितना है ये? Count 9,000 something, right? This data I can analyze and create tables. Okay, which code, which city, I can analyze it. I can create dashboard and everything based on this data, right? I can upload this data with this header, address, locality, all this. I can upload this in my Splunk, right? Using this option. And I can make it searchable. Using which option? Upload option. The CSV file I can upload on the Splunk. You have this option for that. Device integration option you have in the monitor option. So Windows device integration, file, HTML, WMI, TCP, UDP, all these different options you have it here. When we are using forwarder option, universal forwarder option, to manage universal forwarder, we have to use data from Splunk forwarder. We have to use this option. When you want to manage universal forwarder, then we have this option. I will explain you this in the later part. Understand? So right now we have to select monitor option. Understand? Clear? So on the detail I have not asked you to written, but anyways, that is just for your understanding. The bigger step you have written, that is for your understanding, little step. Otherwise, for interview, just you can give high level. Okay, now we'll log in with Splunk Web, go on the settings, go on the add data option, and configure the device detail. What you want to configure, the IP address, index, and everything, and click on submit. That's it. You have to tell. Not click on add data, then data input, then monitor, then IP address, then index. What the detail nahi? That is for your understanding. I asked you to detail, right? Understand? Means you don't need to claim it in a sense. You just have to understand it. For your understanding only, I have written so big line. Get everyone right? What is my objective? So monitor option is for all your WMI, TCP, UDP, firewall, router, everything. You have to select this option. Understand? If I go on the data, you can see if I click on monitor option, I get this option. Local, remote event, WMI option is this file directed TCP, UDP. So if I go on setting and click on data input, I directly get this option. Directly this option I get. You can see. Again, click on data input, directly see local event, remote event, file, and directly I get this option. There I got upload option also, monitor option also, and forwarder option also. But here I got directly option. Remote device. I can use this option directly from here. New, but it is given different way here, but I can use it here directly. I can direct go it here, and I can use it here. Or if I go hit here, I can. So we'll come on. You can see, option came. You guys can explore it here. Now I will go on the add data option. Both way, if you come here also, you got the same option. You came here and you got same option, right? घूम फिर के same ही जगह में आना है. Means that way also you come here and this way also you come here. Yes or no? Clear? Everybody? Now I said you after that what you have written. Select the WMI option. WMI. You can see WMI is this option, remote event logs. You can see first option was local event log. Collect event log from this machine. This option you select to collect the logs from the machine on which this Splunk enterprise has been installed. Select this option. So right now, ideally, we should select this option because 24 machine only I want to integrate. Yes or no? So ideally, we should select because we want to collect from this machine because anyways, remote machine, we don't have account because you can see remote event logs. What is written here? Read.
It requires a domain account.
It requires a domain account, which you don't have.
Right. Understand, right? Do we have domain account? No, right?
No.
We cannot collect, but still will you because we have to understand. You save, but again once we enter the local IP, it will understand and it will consider locally only. Right? So let's correct this option. Collection method. Collection method. You can see what is written. You read this. AD means domain again. AD is the application. Active Directory is the application which is installed on the domain controller. So same domain controller means your Splunk and your Windows machine should be connected with same domain controller. Of course. Yes or no? Then only communication will happen. Then only authentication will happen. Yes or no? So your domain controller means Active Directory domain controller should be connected with same domain controller only. Yes or no? Understand what is written here above? Everybody clear? You can see event.
Yes, sir.
Event log collection name. Elect event log collection name. For example, why name is required? For example, I have some set of devices. 30 devices on which I want to collect only security logs. I have 20 devices. I want to collect security and system both. So I can create a group. Method is nothing but the group. In the backend configuration file, group will be created. Method is nothing but the group. Understand? So for example, I am giving Windows method. For example, Windows hyphen security. If I am giving Windows hyphen security, it is just a name will be created. Once I enter the IP address here, it will ask you which log you want to collect. For example, I am selecting security. And whatever IP address I will configure, they will add under this particular group. Just for my understanding, I have given group security. So all this IP address of devices will be tagged under this group security. Understand what I'm saying? Other devices, I want to collect system security both. I may call under different group because I want to collect both different. So for example, later period, I want to add one more device, but that device also, I want to collect only security logs. So I can type collection method at Windows security. So once I type Windows security, that particular device will be automatically added under particular group security group. Automatically under one backend files. That is kind of grouping we can make. If we have different group, right? For example, certain device different logs you're collecting, and certain device different group logs you're collecting. So kind of grouping you can create. Understand? Any name you can give. If all the devices same logs you're collecting, so any name you can give. Understand what I'm saying?
But when I'm searching, do I have to give this name only to search the logs?
Not for searching. Just for back naming, grouping, you have to like this.
Okay.
I can give any name. Understand what I'm saying? Everybody is understanding? For example, agar nahi aa raha hai, ye haan na bol do. If you are not understanding, I can come on the board and I can explain you. Just little things, but it's like I explain you on the board. I can tell you. And I'm telling you, 90% people are not aware. What is this actually? They're working in integration, but they're not aware how this works.
बाउंसर हो गया थोड़ा सा.
हाँ, मैं बता दे रहा हूँ मैं आपको. Mute your mic, please. Some people are not in mute. Mute your mic now. हाँ, mute हो गया. चलो. For example, once I write the name, here I am writing, right? This high forward is collecting logs from Windows device, right? See, ideally is collecting the logs, right? So in the input. So this input configuration is being stored in the which file? Inputs.conf, right? But all device integration is actually being stored on input.conf, but especially for WMI, there is a separate file called WMI.conf. What file? WMI.conf. One separate configuration file called WMI.conf. So whatever input you configure for WMI, it will record under the file called as WMI.conf. Understand? So whatever devices you are collecting the logs, it will store under the configuration WMI.conf. Now, once you are configuring device, it is asking log collection group. For example, log collection group, I have written Windows. I have just written Windows. Just written Windows. It will create one group Windows in the backend config. It will return Windows. Windows. Then, for example, you have written one IP, one IP, one IP, right? 3 IP. It will return an IP address 192.160 168.0.2 192.168.0.3 192.168.0.4. Under Windows group, it is connected with a group. And in this Windows device, you are creating, for example, security logs you are collecting. It will show what logs you are selecting security. Security. Understand? And which index you are indexing? Main. This information will be stored under the Windows group. Understand? For example, now after some time, you want to integrate more device. Then you remember you selected before group Windows. If again you enter the group Windows, same to same you have written Windows, and again you select again enter IP address and security all, then it won't create another group. It will add the IP address here only, and this all same information. It won't create separate configuration. For example, instead of Windows, if you create, for example, Windows _ new, then it will create a backend configuration. It will create new group, and again it will enter IP address, then for example security or whatever given, it will create new configuration in the backend configuration files. Understand what I'm saying?
Sir, yes, sir. It's kind of a logical grouping and tagging.
Right,
all
right.
the servers.
Grouping. Understand? In the backend file, it will create grouping. So, for example, in Windows, if you have created security only, security you're selecting, so whatever devices you're creating only security logs, then you create a security. So you will understand, okay, these devices, we only creating security. So which all devices you are creating security logs only, you give the group security. For any device you have security as system, you, for example, Windows -security and system you have written and enter the IP address, but give the group name as log group name as security -system and then enter the. So backend configuration, it will be easy for you to understand. Once you look at the wma.conf, it will be easy for you. Grouping will be happening like this. Otherwise, any name you can give. Just for understanding and for simplicity, you can give the group name. Understand? Clear? Clear, right? Everybody clear?
Yes, sir. Got it, sir.
Yes, sir.
Backend, how it will create the grouping. Otherwise, it will create new group. If you change the group every time, it will create new group. So much mass it will create. Every time you create different name you give. Again, separate group name will create. Again, new device, separate group name will create. Again, separate new group will create. Match will create, right? Better you create now one new group. Every time you enter same group name, it will keep adding. If you have different configuration, then only you give different group name. Understand? Clear? Okay, clear? Okay, so now, right, for example, right now I have written Windows security, just written Windows S, anything, right? Now logs from the, choose logs from this host, enter the IP address, multiple IP address also you can mention comma, like this. What is written? What is the FAQ written? FAQ. What is written? Read.
Best method for monitoring event logs of remote Windows.
Best method means how many methods we have? How many method we have total?
Two.
How, which all?
WMI and
Universal forward.
Universal forward.
So your question will be maybe have what is the best method for monitoring event log Windows machines, remote Windows machines. So what Splunk is saying, you read this. You read this.
Hello.
Yes. Gone through this, right? So one region is given performance. If performance scatters the busy device, use universal forward. So Splunk always recommend to go with the universal forwarder, but WMI is the faster method of integration of devices. Got it? Clear? Any question? Okay. So let's enter 192.168.0.24. Once we enter this IP address, Splunk will identify, okay, this is a local IP address. It gives other options also. Apart from system security and application, it gives the other local logs option also. Okay. Find new logs. You can see it identifies it's a local IP address and system security application apart from hardware event and explorer event key. You can see other event also given option. But it has not given option to performance event. Performance related event, it has not given option, but it has given PowerShell and other event. But performance event can be only collected through universal forwarder. It does not have a script, it seems, but so internal explorer, alert, Windows, PowerShell, these option it has been given, right? But let's say I want to collect security and system. Collect the same set of logs from additional host. Same set of logs. If you want to collect from additional host, you can enter the IP address by entering the commas in between. Okay, clear? Right now we can't enter. Why? Because we don't have domain controller, right? Click on next. What it is asking? App. I will tell you what is app. By default, means app means where the configuration will get stored. You can see under the etc, under system, we have folder local and default. Whatever configuration I'm doing right now, it won't store right now in the system and local or default. It will store under the etc, under app, under search app, it will store. Get in mind where it will store? Under the search app. It won't store under system. Understand? It will store under. So you have the option to store it in different apps. Understand what I'm saying? I will tell you apps and add-on in a later period, so you'll have a better understanding. But I will show you the backend configuration file also. Later period, it will get stored under the search app. WMI configuration, what you have done right now, it will store under the search app. Clear? Everybody? Right? किसी का mic आशुतोष उपाध्याय. Okay. Now you can see host field. Host field value. What is written? What is written? You read this. You read app. You read all three. You read from input setting. You read all three from here. Just read. I'm just coming. Read.
Host field is your host name of the server that is sending the data.
Okay, gone through, right? Understand? Host index. Host means which host now, host name, IP address or host name, how you are going to identify this, right? From which source the log has been originated, right? So you can see this device log will be searchable by this particular host name. Host is equal to this particular host. Got it, right? And where do you want to index, store the log, right? What is selected? This is a default, right?
Default.
And you can see I have created so many indexes, customized indexes, right? So firewall index, right? Some you create history, IOC, different indexes have been created, right? Your main index also, you can see main index. But default index by default mean main only. I am creating a default only. Okay, click on review, click on submit. You can see remote event input has been successfully created. Input has been created. Logs are coming, not coming, means configuration has been successfully. But whether logs are coming or not coming, we have to check. If it is, this is a heavy forwarder, I can't check. Right? I have to log in on search head. If it is single instance Splunk enterprise, then I can go on the search head, searching and reporting up, and I can write the query host is equal to, I have to enter host equal to IP address right now or host name. What I have to enter right now?
Host name. Host name.
Host name or
Host name, sir. Host name.
why host name?
Windows we created, right?
Right. You understood, everybody? Why I'm not entering IP address here? Because
Sir,
what?
You can tell, sir. No problem.
Because in host field we have entered host name, not IP address. Yes or no? But in your explanation you have written host/IP address. That means what you are entering, that you have to write. We have both the option, either host or IP address. But in our case, we have entered host name, right? So enter the host name. Understand? And then I'm searching last 15-minute logs. Yes or no? Click on search. Good. Logs are coming. Yes or no? That means integration is successful, right? I will tell you what is source and source type. I will tell you tomorrow. I'll explain you. Source.
Sir, you will provide recordings, right?
Recording I will share. And same thing you have to do in lab and your system. You have installed everybody, right? So when you are integrating device, right? What IP you have to mention? When you have to go on data input at data, what IP address you have to mention here?
Local IP.
What is local IP address? Here,
PC's IP.
Our
PC.
where we have installed a Splunk.
Whatever DNS has given us.
That is given to you. What IP address you will mention here?
Sir, our system IP, sir.
What
the
is
system IP, which IP?
Local host.
Local host.
Local host IP address.
0.1.
IP address you have to mention. Okay, make sure that you are mentioning this IP address. Okay, 127.0.0.1, because your system is not a part of network. My system was a part of network. That's why I have given 24 IP address. Otherwise, I would have given this IP address also. Okay, in lab environment, because your system is not a part of network. Understand? So you have to give this IP address, get it, and then based on select the host value. So host, how will you come to know what is the host name? At the end, it will select by default, it will show you. Otherwise, how will you check host name of your machine? Command prompt and type.
Sir, command prompt and type host name.
Host name.
Right. So my desktop, this is the host name of my desktop. Right. Otherwise, if you click on next only, it will show you host value. By default, it will tell you host name. Right. Get searching and reporting. Get the device integrated. But follow same step, pinging, how to ping, check the event viewer and everything. Okay. Get it done. I'll share the recording in some time. Clear, everybody? We'll see you on Monday. We understand how to integrate devices with method
Yes, sir.
Universal forwarder.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, sir.